In the 80s and 90s, if you walked into almost any home, dorm room, or car with decent sound, chances are you'd find something with the Aiwa logo on it. Whether it was a boombox, a stereo system, or a cassette deck, Aiwa was everywhere. It was affordable, reliable, and it sounded great. Aiwa had found the perfect balance, offering products with the look and feel of high-end gear without the intimidating price tag. From teenagers blasting their favorite mixtapes to audiophiles who wanted good sound without breaking the bank, Aiwa managed to earn its place across generations and income brackets. But today, the name doesn't carry the same weight it once did, and for a while, it disappeared almost entirely. So what happened? How did a beloved brand go from dominating global markets to fading into obscurity? And where is it now? Let's find out. To answer that, we need to rewind all the way back to 1946 in post-war Japan. Amid the rubble of a country rebuilding itself, a small electrical installation firm called Loveshing Electrical Industry got its start. By 1951, the company pivoted from installations to manufacturing microphones, rebranding as Yaiko Denki Sangyo, what would eventually become Aiwa. Timing was on their side. Japan's electronics industry was just beginning to take off, and Aiwa found a foothold by offering audio equipment that was simpler and more affordable than the high-end gear from companies like Sony and Panasonic. It didn't take long for Aiwa to evolve from a modest microphone manufacturer into a true electronics contender. In 1963, when Philips introduced the compact cassette, Aiwa moved fast. They launched the TP-707, the first cassette tape recorder in Japan. It was a bold move that helped position the brand as an innovator, not just a follower. This forward-thinking approach became one of Aiwa's greatest strengths. New factories were built, and new products followed in quick succession. Aiwa was behind Japan's first radio cassette recorder, the TPR-101, and its first cassette deck, the TP-109. These devices were more than just tools. They were lifestyle products that became synonymous with youth, mobility, and independence. All of this caught Sony's attention. In 1969, Sony bought a controlling stake in Aiwa, and by 1982, they owned over 54% of the company. This partnership had its perks. With Sony's backing, Aiwa expanded rapidly. By the mid-70s, it had opened subsidiaries in the US, UK, and Germany, and set up joint ventures in Hong Kong, Singapore, and Lebanon. The Middle East, in particular, became a stronghold for Aiwa, where it held roughly a third of the tape recorder market. Aiwa's strategy was clear: take proven technologies, refine them, and offer them at unbeatable value. Products like the Cassette Boy TPS-30 offered a compelling alternative to Sony's Walkman, while compact music centers with built-in cassette decks, radios, and amplifiers became staples in bedrooms and living rooms across the globe. They didn't always lead in innovation, but they often won in practicality. Their design language was modern, their sound quality respectable, and their durability impressive for the price point. The brand's presence became nearly universal, especially in developing markets where premium options were out of reach. By the late 70s and early 80s, Aiwa had become a powerhouse in audio equipment, producing everything from headphone stereos to car speakers. A key factor in their success was aggressive outsourcing. Nearly 90% of their products were manufactured in Southeast Asia, particularly in countries like Malaysia and Singapore. This kept prices low and profit margins relatively high. Aiwa also leaned into modularity, making their systems easy to pair, stack, or upgrade. From detachable speakers to expandability via auxiliary inputs, their systems appealed to users who wanted flexibility without complications. But while this model worked well for audio products, it would become a liability as the company began branching into unfamiliar territory. The 80s also brought trouble. When Aiwa entered the VCR market, Sony pushed them to use the Betamax format, already floundering against JVC's VHS. The decision was disastrous. While Betamax may have had slightly better technical specs, VHS had momentum, a growing library of titles, and stronger third-party support. By sticking with Betamax too long, Aiwa found itself saddled with unsellable inventory and slipping market relevance. At the same time, Japan's yen was strengthening, which made exporting more expensive. Margins were squeezed. Losses piled up. By 1986, Aiwa was bleeding money. Sony stepped in with a restructuring plan. Employees were laid off, production was shifted even further overseas, and failing product lines were axed. For a while, this stemmed the bleeding. During the late 80s and early 90s, Aiwa tried to diversify. They launched combo TVs, high-fidelity headphones, and even experimented with mobile phones and computer peripherals. The company hoped to reposition itself as more than just a cassette-era brand. Their headphones, in particular, gained some cult status. Audiophiles still speak fondly of Aiwa's vintage models like the HP V99, which delivered surprisingly rich sound for their size and price. But overall, these new ventures lacked the cohesion and branding power of their earlier efforts. The market was also changing. The digital age was accelerating. MP3s, CD burners, and mini-discs were beginning to eat away at traditional audio markets. Aiwa struggled to find its footing in this rapidly shifting landscape. By 2001, Sony had seen enough. It bought the remaining shares of Aiwa and took full control. The goal was to revamp the brand and target a younger demographic. Sony introduced a new logo, launched digital audio players, and tried to reimagine Aiwa as a lifestyle brand built around PCs and portable media. But the attempt backfired. Aiwa's core identity had always been tied to affordable, high-quality audio, not trendy gadgets or computer accessories. Consumers were confused, and longtime fans felt alienated. The brand lost its core audience without gaining a new one. By 2005, Sony halted all new Aiwa product development. By 2008, the Aiwa name was officially retired. That could have been the end of the story, but Aiwa wasn't quite done. In 2015, the American company Hale Devices briefly revived the brand in the US, rebranding themselves as Aiwa and launching a line of Bluetooth speakers and audio systems. While promising, the company folded within a few years. Then, in 2017, something more substantial happened. Tawada Audio, a former Sony supplier, acquired the rights to the Aiwa brand outside the US. What followed was a piecemeal resurrection of Aiwa across different regions and product lines. In Latin America, the Panamanian firm Audio Mobile Americas now sells Aiwa-branded TVs, speakers, and headphones. In Brazil, MK Group manufactures Aiwa TVs at a former Sony factory. In India, the Aiwa name is found on smart TVs and audio systems sold through thousands of retailers. And in Japan, Genesis produces smartphones and tablets under the Aiwa digital label. Each region operates independently with varying levels of quality, branding consistency, and consumer reception. What was once a unified global brand is now a collection of licensing agreements and disconnected product ecosystems. So, is Aiwa back? Yes and no. The name is alive, and in some regions, it's thriving. But the Aiwa of today is no longer the unified brand it once was. It's scattered across territories, with different companies handling different product categories. The identity that once made Aiwa special, consistent quality audio at an accessible price, has largely been replaced by regional licensing deals. Still, for anyone who grew up recording mixtapes on a TP-707 or blasting CDs on an Aiwa stereo system, the name still holds a spark of nostalgia. Aiwa may never return to its former glory, but its legacy in the world of consumer electronics is undeniable. A company that made great sound available to everyone for decades. And that's something worth remembering. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Aiwa's story, don't forget to hit the like button, share the video, and subscribe for more videos like this. Thanks for watching.